If your red dot looks like a blurry firework, don't go out and buy a new optic yet. Before you spend another dollar, just give me 5 minutes and run this quick red dot check with me at home. Hi, I'm Dave. I did 12 years in the Army Reserve as a warrant officer, and I spent a lot of time helping soldiers qualify with the M4 and M9. I'm also 55. I wear progressives, and my dot started looking that same firework thingy like yours. Now let's run that 5-minute check. You decide to join the modern world. You just put a red dot on your pistol or carbine or your rifle, and everyone tells you, oh man, this will be so much easier on your eyes. First range trip, you stepped up to the firing line, bring the gun up, find the dot, and your stomach sinks. It's not the clean little point of light you thought it was going to be. It's a little fuzzy star or a comet or just a big fat blob. You tilt your head, catch it with a different part of your glasses, turn the brightness up, down, blink, wink. The dot changes shape, but it really doesn't get sharp. Target doesn't look bad, but it's not really earned either. And on the drive home, you're thinking, was that the optic? Do I need glasses? Do I just return the thing and hope I get my money back? Underneath all that is the real question. If I can't clearly see the thing that I'm supposed to be aiming through, how can I trust myself if I ever need to use this for real? Now, if this hits a nerve, you're not alone and you're not broken. Problem is your eyes have changed, but the advice has not. On this video, I want to walk you through a few simple red dot clarity checks you can do at home so you can finally see what's going on with your eyes and your optics before you spend another dollar. And as we go through this, don't feel like you have to diagnose everything on your own. I've put together a little 15-minute aging eyes reality check. It's a short, step-by-step self-assessment you can work through on your own time. And I'll tell you more about it toward the end. But for now, let's just run the clarity check together. Now, steps 1 through 3 take roughly 5 minutes. And at the end, I'll show you a quick low-light bonus test you can do tonight if you want. Now, the main point is you're not broken. Your eyes have just changed. We're going to cover starburst, comet tails, blobs, little fireworks, and this can be embarrassing. You spend a lot of money on these sites and they don't work. There's frustration. I get it. Here's where I challenge that thinking. It probably does work. It's just your eyes are not working. You're thinking, everyone says red dots are easier. What the heck's wrong? Red dots are supposed to help. They're supposed to make things easier, not worse. I get it. You're worried about being able to protect your family. You're spending good money on a red dot or a hollow sight, and it's not working. You're worried about being able to shoot, to being able to see and hit your target. That's why you bought it in the first place. If your red dot looks wrong, it doesn't mean you forgot how to shoot. It just means your eyes have 40, 50, 60 years of work on them. Nobody ever gave you a plan for that. Well, I'm going to give you a plan for that. I'm going to give you a plan for your eyes. You'll know exactly what's going on, and you'll have the confidence to protect the ones you love. Now, we're going to do a 5-minute red dot clarity check. 5-minute check. This is your core solution. Walking through a simple checkup, step by step. This has 5 parts to it. You can do it with or without your glasses. Before we touch any of this, do a full safety check. You're going to want to remove the magazine, lock the slide open, visually and physically confirm the chamber is empty, and make sure there's no live ammo in the room you're working in. Now, if you're using a shotgun, rifle, or carbine with a dot, it's the same concept. Point it in the safe direction every single time. Safety is paramount. Now, step 1, we're going to do this with and without glasses. Takes about a minute. We're going to see what your eyes are doing with or without the glasses. You're going to stand in a room with normal indoor light. Pick a light colored wall across the room, or you can hang a small target 5, 7, 8 yards if you can. Bring the gun up with your everyday glasses. Find your dot, and you'll just notice what you see. Is it a round dot, a starburst? Is it a comma? Is it a blob? Does it change shape as you move your head slightly? Now, don't move. Don't change the distance. Carefully take your glasses off if it's safe to do so. Bring the gun back up and look at the dot again. Did it get better? Did it get worse? Or is the dot just different? For a lot of people, this alone will tell you a lot. Some see better with glasses, some without. Some realize their progressives are the real problem. This will instantly show you whether your glasses are helping you, hurting you, or just changing the problem. Next, we're going to talk about what I call the brightness ladder. We're going to run a quick brightness test. And for this next part, use whatever setup felt more honest in the first step, with or without your glasses. Now, if you've got the time, you can always run this ladder both ways, with or without the glasses, but start with the way you're most likely to use the gun in real life. You turn your dot all the way down to the lowest usable setting. Bring the gun up on that same wall or target and notice. The dot should look a little dull, but just bright enough to see on the surface. Is the starburst, smear, or comet better or worse here? And all you do is you slowly step up the brightness one click or one notch at a time. Each time you turn up the brightness, present the gun again and see what happens. At what point does it start to look like a bloom, a smear, or explode into a firework? A lot of people are shocked how much cleaner the dot looks one or two steps down from where they normally run it. Third check is the background and distance check. Should only take a couple of minutes. We're going to go change the background and distance and see how the dot looks. You can use 3 different backgrounds: a plain light colored wall at 3 to 5 yards, a defined target at 5 or 7 yards, even a small sticky note works. Or if you're able, you could even do it outdoor, like a tree, fence, berm, something outdoors. Now start on the wall, bring the gun up, and just see the dot. There's no target, you're just noticing the shape. Now you're going to move to the target, same brightness, with glasses or without. Bring the gun up and see if it looks different as on the wall as opposed to the target. Is there a difference? If you can step outside safely, repeat one more time on something outdoors. A wall, a tree, a berm. The goal here is to figure it out. Does your dot only look bad on certain backgrounds or distances, or is it consistent everywhere? What this is telling you is some people only hate their dot indoors on blank walls. Some only see starburst against dark backgrounds, and some realize the dot is good enough at realistic distances, but gets ugly when they try to overanalyze it at far distances. Now the next one is a quick low light and flashlight check. We're going to just wait until evening, pick a room where you can dim the lights and make sure the gun is unloaded and pointed in a safe direction. You're just going to stand in the hallway or bedroom. Turn off the lights so it's dim. It does not need to be pitch black. First, look at the dot with the room dim, no flashlight. Does the dot seem easier to see? Is it worse? Is it about the same? Now, if you have a handheld light or a weapon-mounted light, turn it on and aim it at that light-colored wall again. This time, does the dot wash out? Does it disappear? Does it turn into a huge bloom? You can try a couple of brightness settings on your dot and the light, if your light has it, to see if there's a setting where the dot stays usable without turning into a big fat blob. This step will tell you if it's your optic or the eyes. This is step 5, by the way. This is the last step. You'll need a camera with a phone. You'll need a camera, or a phone camera will work, and you may need a friend or loved one to help you. But this is going to basically tell you, is it me or the optic? You're going to turn the dot on, make sure the firearm is unloaded, and aim it at the same wall, same target. And you're going to take a picture through the optic with your phone or camera. Get as close to center of the glass of the optic as you can. Now you're going to zoom in and check your photo. Is the dot in the photo a clean little circle? Or is the dot in the photo a starburst, a comet? Now, if it's a starburst or comet, it strongly suggests it's the optic. But if you look at the photo and it's absolutely clear, that's a problem with your eyes. You can also have a friend or family member look through the sight if they see a clean dot and you do not. That's another sign it might be your eyes are the main factor. Now, you can get help from a friend or loved one if you need help with the camera. You can also put the gun in a bench if you need to. Now, if you did those steps with me, you know a lot more than my dot looks weird. You know whether glasses help or hurt, how much brightness changes the starburst, which backgrounds or distances are worst, and what happens in low light, whether the optic itself is even a suspect. Whole point of this clarity check is before you spend another dollar on optics, I want you to know exactly when and where your dot looks bad and why. Now this third point, not step, this is a point, is how to aim with that blurry dot. You've actually seen what your dot looks like in different conditions. We're going to talk about how to aim with it. A lot of people think the only way to shoot well with the red dot is to have this perfect, tiny, crystal clear circle. Now, for a lot of us with astigmatism or aging eyes, that's just not how our eyes work anymore. The dot may never look like in the marketing photos. It may never be perfectly clear, but you don't need that perfect dot. You can use that repeatable blob when you center it on the thing you want to hit. Instead of chasing a crystal clear, sharp dot, I want you to start thinking in terms of the center of the smear or center of the blob. When you bring the gun up and see that little firework or comma smear, don't lock onto the ugly edges. Let your eyes focus on the target, the spot you actually want the round to go, and treat the dot like a fuzzy paintbrush. Your job is to put the center of that smear over the spot you want to hit and press the trigger without disturbing it. Now let me walk you through a quick dry fire example you can try at home. You put a small sticky note on the wall or a piece of tape. Make sure you're working with an unloaded gun in a safe direction and no live ammo in the room. Turn your dot to one of the cleaner brightness settings you found in the earlier check. You're going to bring the gun up and look at the sticky note or target, not the dot. Present the gun. Let the messy dot float in. And as soon as the center of that blob covers the sticky note or whatever you're aiming at, press that trigger straight back. You don't wait for the dot to become beautiful. It's not going to. You're training your brain to accept good enough and centered instead of chasing that perfect dot every time. Over time, what you'll notice is that your groups at realistic distances will tighten up, even though the dot still looks ugly. The dot didn't change. You're just changing how you use it. So from here on out, anytime you see that starburst, I want you to remind yourself, center of the smear, center of the blob, or center of the starburst. Look at the target, put the center of that smear or blob where it needs to go, and pull the trigger. Now we're going to talk about point 4, actually when to change gear. You've run the clarity checks, you've seen what your dot does with your eyes, and you've started thinking in terms of center of the smear instead of perfect dot or nothing. That alone is enough for a lot of people, but even for some of you, even after the brightness tweak, mindset shift, the dot is still just too messy to live with every day. That's where it makes sense to start thinking about gear choices, but carefully. I want you to use what you saw in the last test to guide this, instead of whatever optic is hot this month. If your photo test showed a clean dot in the picture, but a starburst or comet in your eye when you look through it, that's a classic sign that your eyes, astigmatism, aging lenses, all the mileage, are the main factor. Now in this case, changing from a regular red dot to another one may not do much for you. But if the dot looked bad in the photo as well, or other people see a weird shape, then yes, the optic itself may be part of the problem. Now for rifles and carbines, one of the biggest upgrades for a lot of astigmatic shooters is moving to an etched reticle. One power prism or low power scope with a prism sight. The sight is actually etched into the reticle. It's etched into the glass itself. Your eyes see a solid image instead of a floating LED reflection, and you often get a focus ring so you can tune it to your eye, much like a diopter on a camera. If your dot looks like a firework, no matter what you do, that kind of optic is not worth a look. Now on the pistol side, it's a little different. True prism style pistol sights are very rare. I have not seen one. But a lot of older shooters do have good luck with green circle dot reticles, where the large outer circle gives you a usable shape even if the center dot is fuzzy, and big high visibility iron sights as a backup plan when the dot is off or you're just having a bad eye day. Now, none of this means you have to run out and buy new glasses tonight or a new optic today. Just means you need smarter choices when you're ready. Your decision tree looks like this. If the dot is usable after the clarity check and the center of the smear mindset, you probably do not need new gear. You just need to practice and get into that new mindset. If it's a problem in one environment, say indoors at full brightness, fix those settings. See how far that takes you. But even if it's a mess everywhere, even at a reasonable brightness, and it's clean in a photo, that's when I would start looking at etched reticles for long guns and more forgiving, like a hollow sight or a reflex sight or a green dot, or big sights for pistols. Gear is there to support your eyes, not shame you into thinking you're broken. Let what you see in the test drive your choices, not what somebody else is running on YouTube or Instagram. We can now turn on all this into a simple vision plan. At this point, you've done a lot more than most people who just complain about their red dots. You've run a quick clarity test with and without glasses. You've seen how brightness, background, and low light change the dot. And you've used a photo test or a second set of eyes to get a sense of whether it's you or the optic that's the problem. And you've learned a different way to aim. Center of the smear, center of the blob, instead of chasing that perfect tiny circle. This is a very solid start. But I don't want this to be just a one-time experiment you forget about next week when you're looking at other videos. The real value comes from turning what you've learned into a simple plan for your eyes. Here's what that looks like in plain language. Knowing what your eyes are doing. When does your dot look the worst? With glasses, without, indoors, in the hallway with the lights on. When is it good enough? Write it down and be honest, not for the internet, not for me, but for you. If you hesitate at certain distances or certain lighting because you don't trust what you're seeing, that's important information you can use. Decide what needs attention first. It might be as simple as run the dot 2 clicks dimmer and practice centering the smear. It might be, I need to talk to my doctor. I'm going to test an etched reticle on my rifle. I might need a couple of dry fire drills built around a sight picture I actually have. Now, there's a lot here, I know. Now, I have built something to help you walk through all of this without getting overwhelmed. It's that 15-minute Aging Eyes reality check. It's a practical, low-cost self-assessment for shooters whose vision isn't what it used to be. In about 15 minutes, it'll help you identify what's actually happening with your eyes, where the problems show up, starburst, dots, fuzzy sights, low light issues, and what needs attention first. It is not about buying perfection or buying a cart full of crap and random gear. It's about clarity, consistency, and making responsible adjustments before stress forces the issue. You're not crazy, and you're not alone, and you're not failing because your dot doesn't look like a catalog photo. Your eyes have just changed. You're learning how to build a plan around the eyes you have today. Now, if this helped you, please let me know in the comments what you've discovered in your own clarity check, and please consider subscribing so you don't miss the rest of this series on aging and everyday carry. I want you to take care of yourself, take care of your family, and we'll see you in the next video.